Oh
and
yeah.
like fall, because it's pretty interesting. It does seem like that winter is naturally, and it's been associated with a time of decay, death, and reflection. It's
Hmm.
cold, dark, kind of like the ideologue of death. It's
Yeah.
very, it can be symbolic of that. All the trees die, everything just goes goes dark, and in the snow, everything just gets all still. You know, and you add those things up, and you get a transitional time of just like serious reflection, and it can affect the moods of people. It can get people depressed and all that.
Yeah.
Again, seasonal affective disorder.
Yeah. It well,
um
and with the season, it's interesting because our like the holidays connected to it, especially in America, are like we literally have like the birth of the savior, so to speak. I mean, I assume you wouldn't argue with me that America is at least somewhat founded on Christianity as probably the
oh yeah, yeah,
majority
yeah.
of the kind of moral underpinning. I don't know what you want to call it, but yeah. So it's like
Well,
interesting that there's that rebirth there period, but it's like the death coming, the that starts, and you also have
well,
the new year, which is that reflection like you mentioned. It's like literally in our holidays. It's in everything that we do. Yeah.
the thing is that yeah, yeah, no, I see what you mean by that there. I was gonna put that up. It is like a time of celebration. You're going from like fall, and fall from like Thanksgiving, and you segment into winter. You have all these holidays, and then after that, that is like kind of whenever you get into more of like the doldrums, like January and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. It's like as if New Year's and all of that was a celebration of life, and then in January you just die. You
Just die.
know,
Yeah. It does kind of feel like that though.
um,
I do get that. It's weird.
people are more people get kind of isolated. It's like everything just kind of dies a little.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
unless you're Canadian and then you just live through it all year.
yes and no, yeah. Um,
I'm exaggerating
I
to
do
some
think that
degree.
no, no, no. I know what you mean. Um, it's just there, and then again, there's just a lot of symbolic associations with winter coming from that aura, I guess you could say, that
Mm-hmm.
vibe. Um, where people notice the atmosphere, they start making creative works off of it, and that begins to compound, adding more to the atmosphere,
Yeah.
because now the atmosphere reminds you of a book, or like media and all of that, um, which it essentially creates this like pinging cycle. I don't know. It's pretty interesting. So it's pretty interesting how like all the seasons have their own like separate vibes and like cultural prominences with them.
Yeah, I
Like
feel like that's
spring's a times of growth. Summer's a time of like action and joy. Fall's a time for Fall's like a time for like retreat, and it's like retirement. Um, and then winter is like death.
yeah, I feel like you could probably go through Young's work and he would probably you could probably
Young,
add some of that his you could probably tie it in somehow. I've actually been
I I can. I probably. Are
I,
you into Young conceptually?
what do you mean conceptually? What is the alternative?
The alternative is like just how people interpret the Bible. They interpret it in just straight up in the censor.
Oh yeah.
Carl Jung, literally, 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 literally. You know
There's no literally with him. He's just talking like
exactly.
pure
He's
symbology.
mhm.
Yeah, that's probably
Which
not even a word, but yeah.
yeah, very symbolically.
Yeah, I've been trying to get through the audiobook for Ion. I don't know if you've if you're familiar with his work.
No, I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it's a lot. I'll probably need to listen to it again sometime to understand what he's talking about. Because the way he talks is like he'll cite some kind of a mythological person, and he just won't like give you any background information or explain anything about them. He'll just cite them and use them as an example. Like everybody knows who the fish from, some weird, he talks a lot about this fish that like goes up through into Christianity. But anyway, and it's like, dude, I don't know who these people are. Can you give me more context and information? It's crazy.
That God, that reminds me of like some literature, from back in the day. Well, they will reference some like very culturally significant thing, like it's just normal talk.
Hmm. Yep.
Like they'll mention Tolkien or some or shit like that. I don't have too many examples. Censor law, but like, but you get you get what I mean though, where they'll reference something like common knowledge, and you can kind of see this playing out here, where people will reference like skibbity or gyat or some other bullshit
Yep.
like that, like it's common terminology, and then people like 80 years from now will be like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, that's
um
one.
admittedly.
It's interesting because like that's why I feel like I'm really interested right now in like ingraining myself in the current culture, because I feel like the more I understand what's going on in the culture, it helps me like get the conceptual evolution that happens across time. So that way when I like read old literature, it's like you can put together the more cultures you kind of have in your mind of like the 50s, the 60s, the 70s in America or in Russia and all these different places, and you can kind of pick up on how societies change across time.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I definitely see that. And you can also track your growth and how the culture has changed around you and how you have changed like with the culture and how
Yeah.
you've grown.
Hmm.
um like for instance, I was like kind of I remember going into high school in like the MLG era, you know
Yep.
where memes and Vine were like just kind of getting started off. And I was like a silly goober. I don't think I was like, it's kind of hard to remember back in those days. I think I was just kind of lost in that time frame.
Yeah. Yeah, I
I
get that.
was like, I think I was much more on the, like, I'm still on the bandwagon of freedom, but I think I was much more on the bandwagon of freedom that time. Um, there's a point in time
For,
where
wait, wait,
I
wait.
believed in a complete.
Freedom contextualized, or are you explaining what freedom? What you mean by freedom?
Well, there's a time whenever I think like a couple years ago, I was an anarchist. I was
Oh,
more
okay.
on that. In that, if people essentially, if people were given the freedom to, you know, do as they like, do as they wished, it would uh, it would lead to a much better society. People could be free and all of that. And also, it was a time whenever I believed in that human nature was like inherently good.
Oh,
And
oh, yikes.
uh, I was, yeah, so like human nature was inherently good. I was like an innocent summer child.
Yep.
Always, of course, I still see the good. I still try and see the good in people, but that led me to getting used and manipulated, because I always thought that there were good intentions, with anybody I interacted with.
Yep.
And I mean, hey, segmenting into the friends question, I mean, that's how I got a lot of friends, because I can be open and honest and actually generous with people, um, which I think is a good thing in this particular day and age, where you kind of need that cultural and social connection that isn't shallow.
Yeah.
because the thing is, it's like we're too connected with we're too connected shallowly. You know, it's all spider webs, and there are very few anchors. You get what I mean?
Yeah, I
Like there are
think
no
it,
deep social connections. There are much less.
yeah, I think I see this having grown up in um the Protestant Christian church. I see it in I look at the culture around the kind of churches I grew up in, and I go like, this type of a culture is what the whole world needs, because I see it where there's that deep like friendship where church is like the center part, but then it's like people are actually just going over in groups and hanging out with other humans, and I'm like, I feel like that doesn't really happen in this day and age for most people in most kind of like subcultures, religions, etc. That so I see that as like an anchor. There are these types of people who are like there, and they're literally like, come over to my house, eat my food. I will pay a bunch of money just to prepare all this food for you, just to come and hang out. And there's nothing more, just so we connect. And that's what I'd say is
Yeah,
like an anchor. I feel like.
it's a very good anchor. Those are like some deep, genuine social connections in
Yeah.
a community. Um, but yeah, kind of just trailing back to the whole. Well, I want to hold. I'm gonna put a pin in that, pin in the human nature and like evolution of my beliefs thing,
Oh, okay.
because
Yeah, yeah.
I want to circle around to that.
Well, hey, do we want to
Um,
do an intro? I feel like honestly, this conversation has been going so well, we could probably just start it right from where I started the recording. But um,
yeah. We could.
we let do
Um,
we want to do like
like
just a
hey,
quick intro and keep going?
like what, like a cartoon or like an anime when there's like about 2 minutes of like back context, and then
Yep.
finally you get the opening scene.
Yep. Yep. Exactly. Exactly. So I am Chris or Christopher, and me and Nico are just having a conversation, and we're a part of the ops slash typology community. I don't know if you want me to box you into just the ops community. You know, that could be always scary. You could be controlled, but yeah,
Yeah, no. Beginning, I'm boxed into a community, boxed into a pattern. It's not really my thing. The control I'm more afraid of is debt.
yeah, yeah. The
like,
paperwork.
like, oh my gosh, so I'm gonna be stuck within ops forever. It's like, sure, it's a timeless pattern. It's like,
Yeah,
of course, everybody's gonna have their themes and archetypes.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Well, anyway, I don't know if I said your name, but you're Nico, and we're gonna continue to have
Hi, my
a
name's
conversation.
Nico.
Yeah.
um, do you want to say what types we are? Or
Nah, screw
yes?
it. They don't need that information. They if they want to know
Oh,
that, they
oh,
can hop on Benjamin's stream and they can talk to us in person.
oh! Shout out, yeah, shout out.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh my gosh, yeah, no, Ben is great. Oh
yeah.
man,
It's a good time hopping on there.
yeah,
Sometimes it's not a good time because you know there are special people.
debates,
Yeah,
debates, and heavy debates.
yeah. No, it's
It
all good
is.
though.
I'll say if you're into it, that Benjamin's stream is just full of intellectual masturbation.
Yeah, it literally. That's like, I feel so bad. We need to get more like F people in there, SF, NF people in there to like hide. We need the type that can hijack the conversation, because I feel like all of them that come in,
No, they fucking they run away.
yeah, they do.
They
I
run
know,
away.
I know. It's
Like we've
crazy.
had like we've had a couple, come in. I think mainly I remember like Sadette coming in, or
Hmm.
whatnot, where she'll be in there, and the just the intellectual masturbation will continue, and it's like, yoink, I'm out of here.
Yep. Yeah, well, I feel like it's because I've been wanting to talk with Benjamin about this, because I feel like because he's the like the person who puts it on, and he can't not engage with an intellectual conversation. Like, you can bring it up and he'll have to talk about it if you have something to add or argue with. And then because he's like
Well,
the leader of the channel on the stream, people are like, well, we can't just butt in and ruin the conversation. I feel like that's the vibe that I get, but who
well,
knows?
yeah. Typically the Lord of the streams, like again, Ben and Dave, both infodom, both masculine TI heads, right? Um,
Well, no, Dave has been retired now. I don't know if you heard.
well, he's still you won't know he's still around. Like
Yeah,
he's not like up until like literally up until last stream. But you have these two, you know, block banger heads. You know, one in abstract and one in one abstract, one sensory,
yeah, yep.
and like everything is okay. No, they cast an aura. they,
An
they
aura, yeah.
cast an aura like a
Isn't that enough?
domain. They have like a domain. They have like a domain expansion where it's like okay, you know, domain expansion, Aristotelian discussion. You know,
Yep, yep.
where
I can imagine it now being in the anime and just like Plato and Socrates and like Nietzsche are over there in chairs and you just stuck in the domain expansion.
yes.
It's like you have to beat them in an argument to get out of here.
Oh my God, yeah. And I know for me, I don't know about you, but it's so it could be so tough. You know, feminine TI, uh, blast last, right? Sure, I'll give you those free coins.
Yeah.
Um, feminine TI blast last, like, oh God, you know, I go and engage in the intellectual jacking off, and it's more of just like it's all internal. It's all like internal and halfway subconscious, to where it's like, yeah, I know, I figured out the flaws in your logic, but then whenever I say something, I'm just like,
Yeah. And then your words don't come out
it's
right.
like the
Yeah.
it's it's like
Yep.
the masculine TI aura just like shoves away like my feminine TI, to where it like just has to like work on its own in the corner.
Yeah.
It's like the one quiet kid just kind of like in the corner.
Well,
that's
and I
that's how
feel
I
like
am,
with you, it's almost like
and I'm
if
an energy dom.
yeah, and it feels like you're like building, you're trying to build, and they're like you're taking too long to build your tower, and they just like swat your tower over as you're like halfway done building, and they're like it's stupid, it doesn't work, as they like smash it, and then they're just like go over in the corner.
Yeah, it's like motherfucker. Of course it doesn't work right now. It's a work in progress. Like
Yep.
motherfucker, like
Well, I
give me a
here,
give me a damn break.
yeah, this is why
And
you need to
plus, I
get
like that.
the
Oh,
blast up.
I do.
Yeah, then you
But
could
it's
just
like
like if you could build it quick enough, they can't knock down your arguments.
what has it? It's like it's like a feminine. It's like feminine ti. Like with me, it's like a blobfish. You know, you have to go into the depths of my mind to like actually see its majesty, because I'm working on pulling it out. But whenever it pulls out, it's like a blob, because of because it what do you might call it? Like now, it's blob fishing. Like I'm choking. Like I'm
Yeah,
just
yeah,
mumble
okay.
fucking. Um,
Speaking of a blobfish,
where
have you
like
ever
I know
seen that?
exactly.
Sorry, I need to butt in. This is very important. Have you seen the video of the pufferfish eating the carrot?
Yes,
Yeah,
I have many times.
it's a beautiful meme. I just imagine you like
It's
that now. Now
truly
you're the
glorious.
pufferfish eating the carrot. I know it's not a blobfish, but it.
That's happened twice, bro. Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that. Oh boy. Yeah, no, it's something. The feminine functions. It's interesting because the way I see it, um, the feminine functions, of course, they're like water. They're like fluid. Um, and the amount of energy you put into them is based off of your savers in activation. It's like charge, but what's done with that energy is different. Like masculine, you're going to shove with it. With feminine, you're going to flow with it. But they still have the same amount of energy, same amount of like power to them. It's just in a different manner.
Yeah.
And so what happens is, like, again, because I've seen people with like feminine sensory that are obviously like way better at sensory than like me. They're
Hmm.
bigger, they're more jacked, they're more coordinated. It's like, I look, I'm like, what the hell, me and my masculine sensory, I should like win. But it's like, no, no, that's not how it works. Um, so there's other factors to it. Also, one thing that I do see with the feminines, it's like water. It erodes away at rocks and stuff. So
Oh yeah,
it,
yeah.
it seems like the feminines win in the long run. The feminines are a long haul process.
Yeah, I have seen that same
To
thing. Yeah.
where, like, I think, like, this may or may not be a pattern, that I've been kind of uncovering. It's like I'm like a pattern archaeologist, um, where I've been like seeing, hmm, I think it might be a possibility that people with feminine sensory, you know, they might live longer. They might live longer than their masculine sensory counterpart. They win in the long term. And I froze up. What the hell?
Yeah, it looked like I think it's maybe an internet spike, but yeah, it doesn't matter. I can still hear your audio. I so with the feminines, I do see the interesting like fact of where I feel like when I build something in the feminine, it's really there. It's like so much
It's
more
really
there.
solid. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's like in my body. I can't get rid of it. It's so ingrained, but it's like the amount of like almost like sifting you have to go through of just sands and water just like whooshing around, and it's just like I don't know what's going on. I can't remember anything. It's
Yeah.
like the
It's
amount
like,
of logic, the amount of logic that I've stacked, and I don't remember any of it. I can just like hold on to conclusions sometimes, and otherwise it's all gone all the time. Yeah,
yeah, it's like, yeah, yeah. It's like, okay, what conclusion you got? How the hell did you get to that? Don't know. Here's my conclusion. I
yeah.
swear.
I swear it's good.
I
The
swear,
logic's good.
guys. Hey, at least you can kind of like hold on to it in like the NF. Like
Yeah,
if something big that like if something really big, like really logically groundbreaking hits you, you can like kind of store that away in your NF if it had like an emotional impact.
yep.
And I could see you've probably done, a good bit of that.
That's like all
So
I have to hold on to 99% of the time. Yeah, that's it. That's all I am. I'm just a bunch of like NF conclusions that I like impacted me, and I don't know where they came from. Yeah, it's beautiful
God,
in a very not beautiful way because I can't explain Jack to anybody. I'm just like constantly re-exploring the conclusions I already came to. It like hits me like 95% of the way through a conclusion if I'm explaining something like if you were to ask me like how do relationships work, how does the marriage work, like I have some information in there. I don't know where it is, I don't know what any of it means, but as I work through it, I'm like, oh, I've gone down this path before. I can tell you some ideas about how to make relationships work. I have some conclusions there and some logic. I don't remember. Yeah, it's it's interesting. But so we were talking about friends. Did we get through that, or did you have more to say about friends? Like, um,
I think I like touched over that of like friends are good whenever everybody can like see the good in somebody.
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
And then you can build those tight knit communities like we talked about. See, there's that connection there. Boom.
mm-hmm.
Um, where friends are good for that tight knit community. Like for instance, if you're in town, I might invite you to dinner. Like, hey, bro, cook some shit up. Let's hang out, or
Yeah,
like go to a bowling alley, or stuff like that. Um, it's it's very good. You derive a lot of joy from social connections. That's something I've seen. Um,
yeah. I
how
feel
how are you with friends?
Yeah, to me, I have a long history of not keeping friends, of ghosting them, of not keeping track of them. Like I have literally I can remember one of the first friends I ever had at church. His name was Kal-El, I think it was. After like Superman, I believe. I don't know much about
L
Superman.
what was his last name?
I couldn't tell you. Um,
because I actually know a Kal-El.
is he really crazy?
He's very tall and is kind of built like a Sasquatch.
I think the Kal I knew, he seemed like he had some kind of, I believe he had some kind of Spanish or Mexican in him.
Oh no, no, no,
Okay,
wrong
wrong
Kal-El.
one. And I think he's a communist now too.
Oh
Last
man,
I heard, he's like a hardcore communist.
I swear, like there's something I see with the NTs NTPs a lot. Like there's a high percentage of them, or at least the ones that I see, that are more like on the liberal libertarian like communist side
Hmm. Yeah.
of the political spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, it's interesting because I was there too. I wasn't like a communist. Of course, there are places for every ideology to work. Like I'd be a
Yeah.
communist with my family, you know, um, with my family, my close people. Commune it is literally derived from the term of community.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
What? Hey.
to
So,
where
so is anarch? Because you mentioned that you're an anarchist. I don't remember if I got that on the recording, but you mentioned that. Is
was
that an extreme? Yeah. You. Excuse me. You were. Was. Yeah. Is that an extreme version of like libertarian? Is it on that
Yeah,
side?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It's essentially you know, I should have no chains. I should be completely free. And it's like I've thought about anarchism. Doesn't work. Doesn't
Have
work.
you
Why?
have you
Because
played
order.
Rust?
Because no, no, I haven't. I've but I've really contemplated on anarchism, and I'm like, well, fuck. It makes sense. Because literally, the second you have an anarchic society, there'll be little sprouts of order that form,
And then you'll have a government
and
again.
it's a
Yeah.
form of social. Yeah, yeah, you'll
Yeah.
have a
Yeah. Yeah.
government
Yeah.
again. It's like,
Yeah, that's literally what I've thought of in like 2 seconds. Is I'm just like, all it does is it just starts the cycle again, and then we're back to government,
yeah,
and yeah, yeah. I've
it
actually been
does. It's
listening
like,
to. I found this channel. I think he's. I want to say his name is like JP Young or something like that. I think it's with a Y, not Carl Young, but it might have been like Carl Young. Anyway, he's a centrist guy, and he's like really into like Jordan
I'm pretty
Peterson's old
centrist.
literature, and he he's like really on the, which I think I might actually agree with to some. I don't know to how much degree, because the logic I don't remember, um but he's like making these arguments with Destiny, if you're familiar with him, about how like the right and the left, you want to be in the center and balance them both out. And I do see that, I think, across time, because you see the thing with anarchist and like the extreme libertarian, and then it like you just flip flop, like you need the balance there, where the order is going to come about,
Mhm.
people are going to make the order no matter what, and you need to keep both sides stable, so none of them flip the boat, so to speak. But I don't know, would you agree with that, or what do you think?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's definitely a tendency towards balance. It's like a pendulum. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you swing one way, you swing another, and it'll slowly equalize.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
And
there's
I
whenever it comes to anarchy, if I look at it like as in an energy perspective, um, or an entropic perspective, there's like too much energy there. There's a lot of energy, um, which outpours into the environment, and then finally, once the energy's settled, order can start to sprout out. To kind of help manage stuff
mhm.
and make things a bit more efficient. And then it crashes down to like a lower level afterwards. So it's like a cycle. It very much recycles itself.
Yeah. So what's the, like, with anarchism, anarchists, I don't know what you call it, but so like right now, if anarchists were to take over America, because we both live here, what does that look like?
Well, I think first they just go about and abolish the government. They probably go after like the government, the IRS, certain intelligence agencies. Probably go after that. Um, they won't have much traction at all. Because the thing is, with anarchism, it's very disorganized. The second you have like an organized force that just kind of comes in, like say the U.S. military, where it's a lot more coordinated than the anarchists. Because again, anarchists are free beings, where their literal mantra is to not take orders. So
Yeah.
it can be very very hard to organize them.
So it's
So
literally
I don't even
EP.
think I don't even think a anarchist taking over the government or taking over anything would be feasible, because it is very very difficult to organize them in mass, because their ideology goes against organization.
So is the idea like if the idea is if everybody is just an anarchist, then we win because then everybody will just do whatever they want? Is like what's the end goal there? How do you that obviously fails. I don't get it.
Well, that's it's because people don't know how to just do as they please. Humans are social creatures.
Yeah. Yeah.
We automatically organize ourselves in hierarchies. We can literally see this with the fucking social types, where people are kind of like genetically meant to be in life. It's like it is genetically organized already to be like a subversion to anarchy. Like it won't, or like a prevent it'll be a preventative measure, because as we see even in nature, anarchy just doesn't work. It
Yeah.
really doesn't.
Yeah,
The
it
lone
actually
tiger is a lot more the lone tiger is a lot weaker than the pack of lions.
yeah.
And
Well,
they
the, like the way the anarchy sounds like at the end goal, and maybe I don't have a bad, or maybe I don't have a good conception of utopia, but it sounds very utopian. But you get there the reverse. So like utopia is everything gets in order and people can do whatever they want and be like, is that correct or is that bad? Like logic there.
you utopian is just utopian is again a very subjective thing. Again, somebody's utopia is going to be somebody's dystopia.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
the end goal for any ideology is a form of like personal utopia.
Yeah.
Like if I were to like you even see this with objective personality. This isn't an act. This is just natural human behavior. You have Dave and Shan kind of saying like so yeah. Dave and Shan's you can kind of see this utopian ideology in like where Dave and Shan will be kind of preaching the idea that ops will set you free. It'll put you through a lot of pain and like get you, but it'll like help you build your life path and all of that. And again, it's a very utopian and idealist measure. And for them, yeah, it's certainly has. You can definitely see it. It's caused a lot of positivity for a lot of people. Again, you can see the drama in like the Facebook groups and all that shit. Um,
Yeah. I'm not on
but
Facebook.
that's like,
I don't pay attention to
oh, I'm not on the Facebook either. I just hear about that bullshit
that. Yeah.
because I'm not play last like you.
I was actually thinking today,
Possibly,
literally about getting
allegedly,
Facebook. Yeah, allegedly. Yeah,
possibly, allegedly, maybe. Um, but they kind of have like this idealist mindset of like or like utopian mindset of for ops, like, oh yeah, it's coming to the FBI, coming to the CIA, the government's gonna love it, like I swear, like very very optimistic.
do we even
But
want the
again,
government to have it?
somebody's I think it'll be pretty useful. um
Well, it'd be useful, but
Funny
do we
enough,
want them to have it?
in my whole what do you might call it, scan, like fucking shit that went down with like the FBI
uh
and all that. I kind of on the lowest of keys walked into a job offer for the FBI. So I'm like on the lowest of keys tempted to like really go in. going hard on like typing people, um, really typing. So then I can go in and like be some sort of detective, and I think that could be like super badass.
Yeah, I mean, hey man, if you can make it work, that'd be cool to see.
Just like some sort of forensic detective based off of that. Like the second I get like any form of data on somebody, can already get like ran through the mechanism of ops, and it's like okay, I can actually like predict with like scary levels of accuracy where they're gonna be,
Oh,
or
oh,
like
oh, oh.
what's gonna happen.
There is something I was listening to earlier today. It was a video on the connection between like Aztec and other kind of occult. I don't know if occult is the right word. I'm not sure what the right term would be, but of um, like spirituality that
Oh,
sacrificed people to.
for in murderers
Yep, 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 yep.
and
Did
like
you see that?
murderers and killers. Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
I think
yeah.
there's something with oh yeah. This is mentioned on the Yaman stream actually, where if you send a link via YouTube, it will it'll have a little stub to it that shows that it came from my channel
Yeah,
or it came from my account,
yeah, yeah.
and
Yeah, you can delete that.
that's how you can get, yeah, you can, and that's how you can get like recommendations in. So more than likely, with the stuff that you and I have shared back and forth, uh, we might have stumbled across the same video because of that.
Maybe I
Well,
don't
that's
know because
interesting.
I've been going through a lot of weird stuff like that with mythology connected. So it's possible that helps, but I'm not sure because I can usually I've actually been able to track that in the past with people where I can actually tell the exact video. It's usually about a day after, but maybe it connected us. I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to bring up the fact that like if you have a serial killer who it for context for anybody who might listen, the serial killers, there was a couple of them. I think it was Zodiac Killer. There was it Dahmer? I can't remember.
Yeah, Dahmer.
That talked about having like a connection to the people he ate. I believe it was.
Yes,
Um,
yeah, Dahmer did cannibalize.
yeah, and there is a lot of there's a
Zodiac
couple
Killer
of
did not.
yeah. But there was a connection between these people, and there's like some kind of a weird idea of like the afterlife and having like a connection with the people and having them as like their slaves afterwards. And I'm just thinking, what type would get go down that rabbit hole? That's what I want to know.
I mean, here's the thing: we see types kind of scattered around nearly every single ideology in the book, right? We have,
Yeah.
we have like with you have what do I call it? Like Ben Shapiro, Jordan Peterson, and like some others like that. Like say NTPs,
Oh,
they're all
William
over.
Lane Craig.
They're all over the place.
William Lane
You
Craig
know?
as Christian. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're just all over. Uh, same thing with like same thing with like every type. You can kind of just find them. You can find them anywhere. Um,
Well, yeah, it would be the path that
I
gets them
mean,
there. It would be the path that gets them there, and that's what I'm confused about. Is like who how did these people get to the place of where they think murdering people will make them slaves in their afterlife? Like that's such a weird thing to get roped into, and I'd be really curious to like look at their life and go, what went weird here? Was it like a bad group of people that got them into it? Or was it weird, like a bad consume demon where they like read it once in a book and then they just got shoved in there and stuck, or like what was it? And maybe it's probably a bit
well,
simplistic because there's also psychopathy.
yeah. There's forms of psychopathy. It could be where where you read it or stuff, because again, information's everywhere. This kind of slavery thing dates back to like ancient Egypt. Um, Dates back to like ancient Egypt and very ancient cultures. And I think that's just because people want to believe that life continues, and
Yeah, yeah,
I think it does. But the the idea that life continues or there's a life after death, and it is anything like um and it is anything remotely similar to what we're going through here, I think personally, I believe that's retarded.
Yeah, I know. I'm right there with you.
um,
Yeah, I'm right there
it's
with you.
like it's like it generally doesn't make any sense, because you hear, again, you can hear like stories of like spiritual beings and stuff, wanting this wanting to go down into like our dimension, and wanting to go down into our dimension because it's like a unique lower dimensional or lower spiritual level experience, and it's like just different, they crave it. But also the more grounded answer would be that the mindset that things are kind of like things are chiral all the way up are is kind of silly, in the sense of they're just projecting what their life is like onto the afterlife. And
Yeah.
you see that with many different cultures. They project their culture or an
Yep.
idealized version of their culture
Uh huh.
into the afterlife. So if
It's
you ask
ridiculous.
somebody, what's the afterlife like? You Unless if they're like really really reflective, if you ask a culture, hey, what's the afterlife like? It'll probably be a very very utopian version of what that culture, you know wants to believe,
Yeah, when we get up
what
there,
their ideology is.
when we get to heaven, we're all gonna have 10 Desert Eagles, each of us, with our AK-47s and our M16s, and we're gonna go out to the shooting range, and we're gonna philosophize and shoot guns and blow things up. America,
Yeah,
baby, and eat
uh-huh
burgers. a
I'll
hundred
have
burgers,
about
be
I'll
honest.
have a yeah, I'll have a pet eagle wearing the Homelander costume.
Yeah, for real. Well, hey, okay, so I do want to back up the conversation. We've gotten on an interesting rabbit trail, but I did want to mention because we got off topic on my I mentioned the first friend that I ever lost contact with when I was like
Oh
4.
yeah, cow. Yeah, and then we
Yeah,
started talking about communism, and then we started talking about communism, and then
it all went
certain
downhill from there.
ideologies, and then utopia. Yeah,
Yeah. No, it was all good. But with him, I think specifically thinking back on it, I don't have like very vivid memories to go off of. I swear he was probably asleep last ENTP. I swear on my life. That kid was freaking
yeah.
insane.
Really,
He was nuts. And I remember playing with him, and this used to piss me off because I would play games with him. And at the age of 3 and 4, I always felt like,
remembering emotions.
yeah, they're these kids, man. They didn't know how to play because all of them would play like power fantasy, where it's like I imagine the gun there and I just like win over the bad guys. I'm like, no, man, you need struggle in the story. You can't just win like that. So I hated playing with like any kids because I feel like they all were just like they would like just imagine being awesome, and it was like infinite power fantasy. And I'm like, this is stupid. I don't want to play this crap. But anyway, so it's a bit
My
of a rant.
my my friend is my friend is like that, and that was his gripe with anime, where certain anime, certain isekai, certain stuff where
Yeah.
in fights and in
Sword Art Online.
stories there won't really be a story. There's a lack of tension in there. Like they're not weaving a narrative, within their sensory. It's just kind of like all over the place. I don't know. That might be like an NI thing where it's like there has to be a narrative, bro. Like
Yeah.
that's a thing. And then with the SIs, it's like cool specific gadget, go burr.
Yeah. Well, and for me as a kid, I was exposed to I don't know why. This yeah. Anyway, I don't want to
Wait,
get
you
into
don't
that, but
you don't know why?
yeah,
You
I
don't?
don't know why.
Oh no.
I
Oh
know.
oh no. Oh,
So I
that's
was
gonna
exposed.
haunt you.
It is gonna haunt me. No, not really, but I was
Oh, I know,
exposed.
I know.
I was exposed to the first Lord of the Rings movie at a really young age, and I there was a couple of other movies that I was probably about 3 when I saw it, I think. And in if you're not familiar with Lord of the Rings, there's a part somewhere in the middle of the movie where there's the 4 hobbits in Aragorn is with them, and Gandalf has left for a period of time, and they're essentially like trying to meet him in Rivendell, and they go up on the top of is it Storm Point? I can't remember the name of the hill, but and then the ring wraiths come for him and they stab him and he gets like wounded and he almost gets like turned into a ring wraith himself. And that was something I really latched
Oh,
onto as a kid, where you have to have if you don't have the downward, you don't have a story. If your character doesn't get to a lower point. And I remember as a kid, I was always obsessed with that of like if my characters in my stories when I'm playing don't get maimed, if they don't get their arms chopped off, if they don't get rebuilt from scrap, then it's no good, man. You gotta have like just the hard down.
if they don't have that dark NF, it's not good.
Yeah, it's not good, man. Exactly.
I can I can see where that I can definitely see where that comes into play.
Yeah.
Gosh, man, how that really does remind me of my friend because I think he's a similar way. I need to like do like an interview like this of him, to where I can send him to CRG.
Oh yeah, yeah, that'd be
So
cool.
I said I was gonna do for like his birthday present because it's funny enough it's on Christmas. So yeah,
That sucks.
the one I think he likes it. I think he likes it.
No. Well, half the
Um,
presents, man.
eh,
Well, um,
he's here's the thing. It's relative. He's grown to get used to it,
yeah,
but
that's true. Well, what
just like trauma.
I did want to quickly go through. So that was the first friend. Getting back onto the actual topic, that was the first
Oh
friend
yes,
that I
yes.
did not try and keep in contact with. I never even liked playing with him. Really, he was always irritating to me. Um, so that
Oh,
was the
oof.
first friend. And then I had several other at church that would kind of float in and out, and everybody was always attracted to me, and I never wanted to play with any of the kids. They would always want to spend time with me, though. They were always super interested in me. And I remember
They're
there was
always
this,
gonna try and adopt the introvert. They're always gonna
yeah,
try and adopt the introvert, dude.
it's terrible. And so there's this one kid, a Kenyan. I think he was also a freaking sleep last dude. I swear he was on crack cocaine 24/7. He was a mess. Um,
Kids are on crack. Kids are. I was also on crack. Okay, I was, but I'm not sleep last. But look,
yeah, no, I'm probably
kids
wrong,
kids
but
are kids are just crackheads. Um,
there is a
and
different level,
I think
though.
they're kind of. I think what happened. Man, no, I was trying to like get into Dragon Ball style fights with people like in kindergarten. I was a crackhead kid,
Yeah,
motherfucker. I my ADHD was just all over the place.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I think I think for kids, um, I think their crackheadedness comes from their masculine functions. Like I think a lot of their punch, kids comes from their masculine functions because they don't know how to like rein them in.
oh yeah,
So they're just always gonna be like punching with it. So your masculine functions are are like introverted. You know, there
yeah.
you go, freebie. Sorry, whistleblowing.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah, no, you can.
But yeah, no,
li-
your masculine functions are both introverted. They're both, and it's a very, very abstract coin that you're masculine on, right? So it's like, what? It's like, where the fuck's that? Of course, probably you're gonna be like that relatively quiet, like kept to himself kid, because that's what you're kind of like hitting on. That's what you're masculine. You're masculine kind of on just like being in your head or being in your feels or like being in all that.
Yeah,
So
well,
people are people are trying to pull your extroverted functions because they're feminine, right? The bigger crackheads, the extroverted crackheads are trying to
yeah,
like tug on that.
yeah.
But
Well,
again,
it's
like you said, it seems like you never budged. Like
no.
you didn't budge on being an introvert.
I budged on one person. There's one person that properly adopted me. The,
Dragon Snack,
yep, that's right. That's right. Yep,
the neck,
yep.
who's also even more introverted.
Yeah, literally.
I could see it just being so subtle, just such a subtle thing that where you guys just sort of like slowly hanging out more and more and
Yeah,
more
literally.
and
That's what it
more. It's
was.
like, wait a second, we're like one of my closest friends now, and I don't even know how this
Yeah.
happened.
It was pretty slow, I feel like, cuz I wouldn't communicate with him a lot of the time, and to him that was like weird. Maybe I'll have to let him share the story sometime, but and to me I'm just like, I don't know, bro. I just ghost people. I don't talk to them. Like during the week, like we just hang out every once in a while and then I don't talk to you again. Um
Observer shit.
yeah.
Talking to people is chaotic, isn't it? Huh?
Yeah, that was definitely part of it. Well, so there
Is
was
it
a
like stressful?
yeah, it's always stressful, like managing relationships. Yeah, it's stressful. Like when I see a Discord notification from somebody I don't know or from somebody I haven't talked with in a while, there's like a stress spike there. Yeah.
Oof. Yeah. So yeah, what? I'm guessing you keep your circle relatively small.
Not right now. I mean, right now I'm trying to expand it. I'm just trying to get over that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I'm here.
Yeah, exactly.
you know.
I never went out of my way to
Um.
make a friend up until pretty much I feel like um I think until I hopped on the stream, honestly. I don't think I've ever gone out of my way to make any friends.
Actually, yeah, I remember that because
Yeah.
that was a big telling. Like you told me like, oh yeah, you're the first guy that I've actually reached out to. I want to
Yeah.
try this friend thing
Yeah.
because I think you're like on the idea of being like a number one. So you're like trying to catch your pitfall before it happened.
Yeah, that was the idea, yeah, at the time. Yeah.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah, now it's probably just the last animal is what it is. It's just like, oh, this freaking last animal, I got to finally deal with it.
Yeah, yeah. So
Well,
hey,
so
you're here. What's up?
yeah. So what one more friend story I got to share because there's a whole bunch I ghosted and I actually went to a
Good to
camp. I went to a camp,
good to
like a
be
training camp,
friends.
several years in a row, and I never made any long-term friends from that, and I almost never hung out like specifically with any person. I just did my own thing, like the whole like week-long camp. But anyway,
Same. I there's a camp that I went to like about in like I guess there's sixth grade, like one of those grades. But there's like a summer camp that I went to where I think I only like made one friend, and I like barely talked to her. And because I mainly just like did my own thing,
yeah. I can
and
guarantee you if we were
I was
both
like,
in the same camp, I can guarantee you if you were like the social outcast person,
I
you would have
was.
you would have been attracted to me. I don't know why. I can guarantee you would have been though. I don't know. It happens every time. The social outcasts come to me every time. And I think it's because I'm
Okay.
just chill. I just hang out and I'm just like, "Oh yeah, bro, what's
Oh
up?"
yeah, you're just a chill guy, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I bet. But yeah, no, I was kind of getting more on that social outcast side. High school, I was kind of called like the school shooter and all that. It's like,
Oh yeah.
fuck, I'd never like do, I'd never do that to anybody. Like, I have principles, but like, come on.
Yeah, and it's hard from what I've heard with that
But
type of
maybe they saw the Hulk syndrome, and I
they might have.
didn't.
Yeah.
But
The hard thing I've seen with like the social outcast situation is that from what I've heard of like what Jordan Peterson says about that kind of thing and other like psychologist literature is it's a constant like it's constantly there because if you don't, especially at a younger age, if you don't get the socialization, then it continues. It's like a power creep issue where you're never getting up to the same level.
it's a skill issue,
Yeah.
Well, the thing is that I actually think I overcome that. I
Yeah,
overcame
you
that,
seem
and
like
I
it. Yeah.
really have to thank joining a fraternity. Now, I kind of became a bit of a social outcast within my fraternity, but I think I've overcome like being in pain of that. Like I've made my friends. I'm very social within within that group. Um,
Yeah.
just don't catch me whenever I'm depressed because I will just completely isolate and just kick everybody out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, aside from like the times where I'll get on calls like these or like kind of hang out with the community because it's like less taxing.
Yep.
Um,
Well, how would you feel if like if you could do you have any friendships where you can like get in a room and then you both just like do your own thing, but you're like hanging out? Like it's just like let's just watch a show together and like you just don't talk throughout the show. Or like maybe comment at the end and you're like, "All right, next show." And you're just essentially like not socializing while being in the same room.
just vibing with somebody.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, kind of. Um, I'd well, of course, there's typically a mix of like socializing and like actually watching the show. Um,
No, you need to try
I have a
cutting out
friend.
you need to try cutting out the socializing. It's beautiful. Just watch the show.
No,
Ignore them. I'm kidding.
no need, no. That's not how I do things.
No, I know. I know. You're too
I
friendly for that.
what I do like there's this ENFP guy. I think he's pretty fucking ENFP. Like, but really fun guy to be around. Who's one of my closest friends. He's a couple years older than me. But what I do is I come up into his room because like we were in a frat, and we just like go through anime together. Like, I just knock on his door, like I come up and socialize. Crazy thing is that he's more extroverted than me, but like I reached out for the social connection because I think what happens is that there's like a sort of like DI in like just hyper focusing on like one or like a couple specific people where it's more like person. I must do everything to satiate this one person.
Hmm.
Um, to where you will see like the introverted person like be apparently more extroverted. Like they'll come out and like reach out to you. Like it's interesting. Um, it's interesting the kind of bipolar swing you get from that.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, um, you kind of like danced around your opinion and belief on friends. Like I kind of already said my piece on like building social connections and a community of positivity. You can gain a lot of happiness and joy out of that. As a matter of fact, I think that is one of the actually no, I think that's the best way to build joy is via community. It's like via a community and via a purpose. Like you need to find your own purpose. You know, of course, this is coming from like TIFE as fuck, but
Yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah. I
but
hear
like
it.
you need to find your purpose and like what you believe. You need to kind of be resound in those. But then you need to find your community where you can actually vibe together and just have a joy and positivity and all of that. You can get that balance mixed. And possibly there's a possibility that it could be like very similar for you. Um, I know you're a different access, but it's like would be interesting to see that because
Yeah,
I think that
I
might apply. Let's see what you got for that.
yeah, I feel like well, okay, I want to share one more random friend story. Um there was this kid that he started there was okay in the neighborhood I grew up in there was a house like three down and there was always these three brothers that were always they were playing outside often and I like once every 6 months or a year or whatever I'd go and hang out with them, typical. um it was just like once in a while I need that itch and then I was done. And there was another kid over. I actually do want to reconnect with him someday. I think it would be interesting to do so. But anyway, his name was Sean, and he he was over there, and then like my idea of what is a friend, I realize has been like way too high for all my life. Like the idea of a friend to me is like I don't even know what the standard is. It's so high to become a friend is what it was for me as a kid. So when he came and he talked to me for like
That's
a
okay.
minute,
That means you have some real ones.
I don't know because I had nothing to base it off of. Like it was just this absurd
Oh, okay.
expectation. Yeah, yeah. No, there's nobody that filled that void necessarily, or filled that
Oof.
spot. So this kid talked to
Yeah,
me for
that's
a little bit,
sometimes.
and he then decided we were friends, which was weird to me. But then he came over and he came over to my house from that point forward and knocked on my door and wanted to hang out. It was like every day for the whole week, and I would tell him no. I would tell him no like 5 days out of the week. I'd be like, no, I don't want to hang out today. And I'd finally have to like I feel like the DE tension was so insane at that point in time of like obligated to do so and like but no, I just want to do my own thing. I don't want you around. And so it was always like this major conflict where he'd come over and say I like you want to plan and be like no, and then I'd just be like trying to get back in my inside my house, but the kid like wouldn't let me because he just wanted to play, and it was just the two immovable people. We just sit there out on the porch, and he's like, "You want to play?" And I'm like, "No." And yeah, it was pretty crazy. Um, so yeah. Anyway, my outlook on Friends. That doesn't necessarily apply, but I thought that story was kind of funny. Um, yeah, I feel like to me the only way, and this sounds I feel like this sounds so bad, especially talking with you right now, but it's like the only the thing that friends are to me is I see it as like there is a certain degree of joy there in friendships. Um but like the negativity I feel like that comes afterwards of like just being tired and like the recovery process and everything, to me it's like it's never felt worth it. So my but what I realize is if I connect with more people, I will get way more benefit in the long run and they'll benefit way more from me. So I feel like there is maybe some kind of idea of joy in there of like it,
Well,
it's gonna be better for everyone if I hang out, but I don't necessarily want to. Like it's more of getting to the space, like getting there. When I'm actually hanging out, I'm cool, but getting
yeah.
to the place of
It's an activation. It's an activation energy. You have an
yeah,
activation barrier where you gotta cross it.
yep,
Um, Maybe certain things will be like a catalyst, for aiding in the hangout behavior. But
I think it's information. That's what I largely see is like with Benjamin stream. I want to hop on because I'm just like, there's enough of the
it's
nerdy
very
crap that I'm
informative.
into
Yeah.
that I'm just like, I'll probably get something interesting out of this. So like, it's way easier at that point. So that's kind of my
Oh,
outlook
sure.
on Friends. But
Mhm.
oh yeah, how long do you have?
Man, as long as you want,
Okay.
kind of just here.
Yeah.
Um, so let's see. There's what do you call it? It's like your feelings are. It's like your idea of joy. Probably you hold to a very high level of. You probably hold it very sacred. It's probably very very sacred to you, or at least the idea, or at least well, yeah, no, that is what that is what I meant by it. Like you have a very high standard of like what joy to you would be. Um, so if there's like I could see that. Like if you're not getting XYZ joy out of out of something, it's again it won't be worth it for you to pursue it. And if there's an activation area a barrier where you have to spend joy to get over that hurdle in order to get more joy out of it, you need to make sure that it's worth it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You need to make
Yep.
sure that it's essentially worth it. Plus, I think you're somebody who can kind of manifest their own joy to an extent.
Yeah, I think so too.
Like you find joy in solitude, which it's like, oh yeah, you don't need friends to have a good time or something like that.
Yeah.
Probably was the mantra you were
That was most of my
running off
life.
of for a bit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's most of my life. Yeah.
and So it's like you kind of need something big. Like I'd say the dragon's neck was really good at that to actually be like, wow, you're you've actually like beaten out the joy of my solitude for this period of time.
Yeah.
Because there's a
And
funny quote. Well, there's wait, hold on.
yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
There's a funny quote. There's a quote that I saw that said, "You're not competing with anyone else for my time. You're competing with me for my
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
time. You're competing with my need to isolate,
Yeah,
and
100%.
that's
That's
what
what I
you're
had to
competing
evaluate.
with."
That's what I had to evaluate getting on here. Yeah. Yep.
So it's like, so if somebody can like win out on that, or you can like see the benefit, that's whenever I'd say that that could be considered a friend for you. Which again is very very interesting that out of everybody in that stream, you kind of like selected me. I know you and I like hung out for like a little bit like after that particular stream, um, and I was just like, huh. That's whenever I sat down and like I evaluated. I'm like, maybe I am just pretty approachable. Maybe I am like, very friendly or something like
Oh,
that.
you are. Yeah, 100%.
It's good. That's good.
You're
It's
you're
like,
somebody I would invite over for dinner like any day of the week. I feel like probably the only
oh
worry I would have,
yo,
the only problem I'd have is again my energy levels, but it would just it would be like that and like how easy is it to get this guy out of my house? That would probably be the only two questions.
oh well. Typically there are times where I just like see myself out. It's like, oh okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
See ya. You know, because look, I have low play too. I'm an introvert as well, so it's
Yeah.
like,
Well, yeah, after we talked at the end of that one stream, you're just like, "All right, I'm done. I'm going to go to introvert time." Like you ended the conversation I'm like, "Whoa. Whoa, somebody beat me to it."
yeah. um, and I think that's maybe because I go a bit more into the extra, like whenever I do extrovert, I put more into it. Like since my last animals are both extroverted, so I put a lot of energy into the last animals, and then I finally pull back.
Yeah. Well, and
Versus your animals kind of being scattered. Like you have scattered animals.
yeah.
Like you're like extroverted, introverted, extroverted. It's like a very interesting stack there.
Yeah, it's called
So
you wake up tired, but you get the crap done anyway, and then you die the rest of the day. And then you have a bunch of energy left at the end of the day, and you're like, "Where did this come from? What do I do with it now? Stay up till 4?"
well, it seems like here's what you're doing with it right here.
Yeah. Well, no.
Because
So,
well,
well,
when's your bedtime actually?
bedtime. I don't know what that is. I've like never had a consistent bedtime.
Hey, me too. Me too, dude. I swear that's something about the introverts. It's like
Yeah.
when's bedtime? Oh well, our energy pops up at night, so it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
okay. Okay, but
Well,
your point. Go.
yeah. I had a couple points. Now they're all floating around. I don't know where they are. But the one thing I did
You'll
want to
find
mention
them. You'll
is
find them. Don't worry.
the the interesting thing is no matter how introverted, I feel like if an infodom is in a conversation and they're like having the information that they're getting interesting information out of it, I feel like you can keep them around forever, no matter what. They will stick around in that conversation for like ever. You cannot get rid of them. Whereas the energy noms, I feel like they can actually cut off the conversation and like leave. And I was kind of relating that, thinking of like yourself and Dragon's Neck, where we can just talk for ever and ever and ever and ever. So
Yeah. I'll get uh, I'll get kind of like a bit steamy afterwards. Just like, okay, um, where's the pie in the face? Okay, I'm not getting any of that. Okay. Again, need to make that work out for myself. But
yeah. Oh, the
if
the
you
other
like
thought.
that,
Oh, go ahead. What's up?
no. I was just like, silly emotional reaction
Oh, okay.
like that. or the or
Like Benjamin's face that you screenshot and sent to me.
the.
That's funny.
It's pretty good.
Um, so the other thing I thought about is that with the friend thing, um, I I just lost it again. It'll come back. Give me a second. Oh yeah, I feel like I've been changing like my whole frame of reference for what friends are. So like I feel like I can't even answer honestly. I feel like I was more of giving you a historical answer of what it's been like for me. I feel like right now it's changed drastically cuz like I feel like I've been learning more and more if I hop in on here with you. It's like I don't know what kind of a weird experience I'm going to have and I really just want to experience whatever happens with this person. Um and then kind of see how cuz I feel like I have an idea of what I'm going to want from the conversation, but then there might be things that hit me that I never, just like OE didn't know they were there or a possibility, and they hit me, and I'm like, oh, that was actually really cool and fun, and I enjoyed that. So I feel like there's a lot of that going on right now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So the very interesting thing about friends and other people is that at least for what you are, and they and just in general, I do see other people as like kind of chaotic forces. Um, where it's like, yeah, no, you don't know what happens with them. You get a gaggle of people going, and they become just emergent, like an emergent phenomenon. They're just their own organism.
Yeah.
Like no single person would steal a stop sign from a street, or even have the inclination of that. But all of a sudden, you get a gaggle of college guys,
Mm-hmm.
and now they're just raising hell.
Yep.
It's like, where the hell did this come from? This the parts do not equal the sum here, you know. So you get kind of this emergent phenomena with friends and groups, and you get a lot of chaos that you just, again, wild out there possibilities that you couldn't necessarily obtain by your own lonesome.
Yeah, yeah.
Of
Well, and
course, you can like use your imagination, like simulate it, and just kind of like play it out, but it's never as like it's not necessarily as authentic as the real thing.
no, it's not. Yeah. Well, that's a good point. And then another interesting one is I feel like when you're in a conversation with a lot of people, I feel like the topics drop to like a lower grade conversation. Is how I've always felt. So like right now, I would consider this like a high grade conversation because there's just one on one, and we can get like really deep into things if we want to, and we can get really personal. Whereas when you're with a lot of people like Benjamin Stream, there's just so much crap going on that like you can't like
Well,
really.
yeah, yeah, it's
It's not quite the
it's a
same.
it's a principle of depth versus breadth.
Yep,
You know,
exactly.
um,
And for me, I've had to.
introversion
Oh crap! I
stacking
lost my ear.
and focus versus extrovert.
Okay.
Oh no.
Like, yeah, yeah, no, I understand where
Oh,
Introversion,
it's like,
introversion
yeah, I can
stacking versus extroversion, spreading. Can you hear me?
but I mean,
I started playing
I can
something.
hear you.
it
I
never
started. Can you
lasts,
hear your own voice?
you know. But I
Yeah.
can say that there's like,
Wait, no, I can't. I cannot hear my voice. Wait, has it not been recording this whole time?
No, no, it has been. I accidentally started a YouTube video in the background. That's funny. Anyway, go ahead. Just a little bit
Oh,
of chaos in here.
I have some fun. I have some fun YouTube videos to show you if you kind of want to get some of that energy dom in there, if you'd like.
Wait, is
Like,
well,
do you want to like do an intermission?
all right. So we were back. We took a brief, not so brief intermission, but we're using the last of our energy, and we're
Brief.
channeling it from George Washington to get us through the rest of this. I don't know how
From
long that will
George
be.
Washington.
Yeah.
That's a very, very interesting sensor there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can do it too, man. I can do it too. You just got to get me in the right state.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
All right. Um So we figured out that you're an ENFP now. So what are we gonna do about
Totally. Yeah, totally.
that?
I'm totally an NFP, guys. Look at me. I'm terrified of these headphones. The 5G is gonna kill me. Oh my gosh. I'm just like, oh my god.
The
Oh my
5G.
god. The 5G stuff was so stupid. Oh my
My
god. That
mom's
was
still on that.
what? Oh my god. No. No, it legitimately doesn't make any sense if you actually stop to like think the like actually stop and think about it for like more than 2 seconds.
Well, no, they don't know anything about 5G, and it's magical. It does magical things.
Oh
It's
my god, this is where you do research. Oh my
no, 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 no. You don't. You don't figure out.
god.
You
Oh
just
yeah. Oh,
take what the internet tells you, and you believe
oh my god. Here's the thing. I can catch myself in that state where I'm
Yeah,
just
I
like
know. I bet you can.
super gullible. Like, oh yeah, I saw it on the internet. It's gotta be. It's like gotta be. True. Um, but it's like you need to but like that's like the observer smoke and mirrors phenomena where
Yep.
you need to just like actually put in like some thought and like ti into it and really be like, no, that's not how that fucking works. That's not how that fucking works.
Yeah,
Come
it's
on, come on,
what
don't
I think Dave calls it
be,
the
don't be
Observer
retarded.
Magic Show. Observer Magic Show.
Yes, yeah, smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
Like here a bit of an ideology that I have is like everything's a phenomenon that like can be observed. you know Everything is like some form of interesting intricate complex phenomena. you know it's just super fascinating. Like if you really sit down and like think about everything and like think about reality and whatnot, it just becomes super fascinating and interesting. you know
Not an
that's
observer
why.
right here. Definitely not an observer.
Not an observer. Yeah, guys, I'm an ISFP, I swear. ISE, come on. Yeah. Consume, play, blast. You already know.
Well, hey, so this segues into our the question I have here. So how did you get into the typology community? What brought you on this crazy ride?
Okay. So
The Joker comes out.
okay, okay. So oh my god, it's so silly. So I can I know the SI on this. So I was in my friend Tim's room, the same guy that I talked about earlier that I watched anime with.
Hmm. Okay.
We were kind of like in intermission. I think we were watching. I think we might have been watching whenever Jujutsu Kaisen was coming out.
Oh,
Possibly.
okay. That was like 2 or 3 years ago.
Either that or Panty and Stocking. Oh my god, Panty and Stocking. It's like some of the most OE fucking shows you can ever fucking watch.
Did you
It's
pirate them or pay for them?
Oh, there's this site. I'm not gonna. It's gotta be pirated.
You can keep the legacy going. Yeah, you gotta keep the legacy
God, I
going.
gotta keep going. You gotta pirate. You gotta pirate. That is
It's the
just
only way to do
the
it. Yeah,
best way to do
it
it.
is.
Truly the best. Um, See, it's you get the. That's one thing I see with the TE. It's like, are you agreeing with me or are you agreeing with me? Because there's a certain pride that you can get if the TE like actually chooses your shit as like the true best.
Oh yeah,
It's
no,
like,
I'm absolutely agreeing.
the DE chose me. Oh yeah, yeah, fuck you. That means I'm truly the fucking best.
If you had said that you paid for it with Crunchyroll, I would have told you that's you're doing it wrong. Yeah, I would have told you that absolutely. You got the
Everything I do
real
is I
the real agreement.
please. Yeah. Of course I did. So okay, so I was in my friend's room. I was in Tim's room. I was watching I was watching, what do you might call it, some anime. I forget. Maybe it was fuck. Maybe it was like Recreators. I think if I remember the vibe of that time frame, I think it might have been Recreators actually.
Hmm.
Whatever. So this we have this like group chat on GroupMe, and one of the not yet like alumni, not fully like one of the wife, the lavaliered wife of a grad student, or fiance, the lavaliered fiance of a grad student posted this, and funny enough, she was the sister of essentially the person that I consider to be like closest to like my brother. Like there's a difference between like best friend and brother.
Yeah.
Um, where it's like I can't really say I like one more than the other. Like I don't know, but they're just in different categories. They're in different kind of categories of love. Um, but anyways, the friend of like the closest person I can consider my brother, my pledge brother, the sister, yeah, God, very interesting community ties. Either way it goes, she posts fucking 16 personalities, bro. 16, the gateway drug, the fucking
Yeah.
marijuana, the fucking marijuana alcohol of personality types, and fucking ops is like fucking Flacco.
Yeah.
That's how fucking deep we're in. Actually, no, not even Flacco. We're like
Crocodile.
more in like fucking more obscure than that. Like fucking no, dimethyltryptamine's pretty known.
Yeah.
We're in fucking benzo. We're in fucking benzo territory.
Yeah.
Fucking benzodiazepine territory with fucking just fucking obscure as all hell. Maybe DMT. Maybe DMT's a well, no, it's like DMT. They're close enough.
It's not that important. It's just a fake category.
It's interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah. No, I think DMT. DMT.
Yeah, it is like DMT. Yeah, um, because ops is a fucking trip.
Yeah, it is. That's what
But
I was thinking. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but fucking motherfucking what do we call it? Fucking I get I go in there. I go into 16 personalities, and she and I get a fucking I get motherfucking INFP. FI. It's like, oh yeah, you're an empath. You're an empath. You love people. All of that. Like just turbo empath type NF shit. Right. So I type myself NF, and then there's this like little category list where she what do you might call it? Where she had like, oh yeah, if you're this type, you're a smartass. If you're this type, you're a crybaby. If you're this type, you're NPC, like that kind of shit.
Yeah. Yeah. I like the video we were
And so
watching.
of course I got like the INFP, which is like the crybaby idiot who just like fails all of his classes, and of course that was true in
Yeah.
a sense because I was a crybaby idiot who failed all of his fucking classes because school is bad and controlling, and I should be
Well,
able to figure out things
yeah,
in my way in my own pace.
that's how the MBTI gets you.
My own fucking rant about the school system. I could go on and on
Yeah.
about
We don't need it.
how
We don't need
much
it.
that grinds my gears, and I could do it way better.
I agree.
Not really. Oh God, you cannot put me in charge of controlling all of that. I know better. And there's a logical progression to how this school system goes, no matter how fucked it is. It's just I'm one of those people who struggles to fit into it, as basically all intuitives go. intuitives, there's a trend of them just getting like fucked in school, no matter how fucking high their IQ might be.
Well, so
Oh,
with the
forget.
MBTI, I'm just thinking though, that's how it always gets you. Is it's the like, is it the Barnum effect, or which effect is it? Where it's like
Yes,
true
yes,
enough,
it
it's
is. It
true
is the
enough.
Barnum. It is the Barnum effect. Um, where you see like some vague categorical traits, and you're like, yeah, yeah, sure, yeah,
I
hey,
cry all
you're
the
kind and
time.
compassionate. Yeah, I cry all the time, or you're kind and compassionate. Therefore,
Yeah.
INFP. He's just very vague. Keep it vague terms.
Well, yeah, I cry all the time, and then you
It's like a
read it.
specific. It's like a special combination of like vague and specific.
Yeah,
It's like
it is.
specific enough. It's like specific enough to get you to like really go into unconscious mode. Like you
Yeah.
you slip into unconscious mode like that. It's like, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I cry.
Because
I
you can
cry all
like,
the
because at
time.
least with
Remembers
me,
the 5 times you cried, and then you're just like, I cry all
I
the time. Yeah.
I know, and it's like, I know with me, it's like you find a home in the label, like you find like a certain like form of like security in there. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, I am a in a label that's like true, and it makes sense to me, and therefore it's comfortable. I can identify which is
Okay. Okay.
why
Okay.
ENTP is such a oh shit, I gave myself away. Well, it happened eventually.
Yeah. No, it's fine. It don't matter. But okay.
But
So how did you get from the gateway drug down to the benzos with OP or no DMT?
because after that I just started to get obsessed because I needed to find the correct label for it. Right? I
Mm,
was just playing a label game. I was playing a label game where I then started to figure that out, started to figure out the types, and of course I had to like go after like a special label, right? But that still had to make sense. So I'm like going after this. I'm figuring out the cognitive functions. I'm putting all this shit together, and eventually, um, watching videos on it, and eventually, objective personality pops up in my recommended, which is like such a simple, straightforward explanation of what NE is, or like what NE is, or like what functions are. A bit too simple, but it was like, but the thing is like Dave was like such a like masculine SF jackass about it that I was just like, you know what, fuck yeah, none of this like hippie bullshit that like a lot of these other guys. It's like, yeah, here's a function, here's where you're gonna be fucking terrified of, here's what you're gonna be fucking terrified of, or be like shitting or puking or like pissing all over, about. It's like, here's where you're fucked. All right. And he gives it to you raw, you know
yeah. Yeah.
and I was just like, you know what, this dude kind of sounds like a bro. I'm gonna, he's pretty, this is pretty interesting. He's very straightforward and to the point, because of course he's a fucking blaster goobasaur, um with literally with personality types and the cognitive functions probably being as categorical as you can get them. So it's very easy to blast those out. You know, Dave really found his niche there. So after that, started looking into him, and then started to see that it's like, okay, there is okay, yeah, okay, so many people get it wrong. Oh my god, oh no, oh no. And then I'm like, but I couldn't get it wrong. I have to be right. I must be
Yep.
right.
Yep.
Must be right. And I was so close. But eventually, I couldn't afford it at the point of discovering it, which is good, because I think Dave was just getting, like, Dave and Chan were just kind of getting out of that like fuck people territory.
Yeah, they were.
Which,
Yeah.
funny enough, doing the math there was, well, actually no, I discovered their channel back in like May, back in um 1 year ago in May. So yeah,
1 year ago in May, so that's 2023 in May.
yeah,
Okay.
and Yeah, 1 year ago in May or April, one of those.
Oh, okay, so you're way newer to this than I thought. Although I think that kind of makes sense. But yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But hey, I caught on.
Yeah. I know.
I caught on pretty fast because I consumed everything. Like the consume was almost like masculine, in that instance. I was really on that pathway of
Yeah.
just ops, like every just ops, 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 just like taking it all in, and till finally I realized I couldn't afford it. And then so I got like sidetracked with like other typology groups that claimed to be like better, but I still kind of had this like faith to ops, and I was still watching ops. And ops to me seemed like the most official form of labeling you could possibly get in the market. You know, I
Yeah.
think ops is probably the best seller because again, it tries to cater to the the STNT, or the the real scientific method,
Yep.
that
Yep.
was
Yep. Yep.
developed by the philosophers of ages before.
That's why most people come into it, from what I've heard. Yeah.
And it's like, okay, something that's like not anecdotal bullshit, you know. Though patterns are patterns are interesting. Patterns are very interesting like that, where you know you begin to find things that are just like they're just so obvious that you can't like ignore them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like one anecdote, like the teeth, like the NTP teeth. Can you see them?
That's a thing. I don't even know that. I don't remember that.
Uh huh. Like I got some fangs on me. You can't really see them. You can't really see them because the resolution's garbage.
Yeah.
But like, I got some like cursed. I got some like cursed canines. Like
Hmm.
they're very and that's something that you'll see consistently with like, or that you not consistently, but you'll see as a pattern with a lot of the NTPs. Like actually Little Dave. I call him Little Dave and Big Dave. Little Dave. Um, you know, he's I call him little because he's younger, but he's in my mind he's a pretty big guy.
Yeah.
Shout out to Dave. He's great. INTP Dave. But I noticed that with him too. He had like the teeth,
Yeah. It must be
and then the
to
NTP, and then like the
go.
ENTPs. You got like the kind of like V-shaped eyebrows
Yeah.
that I've noticed. Like look at that. Like what the hell? And you get like this fucking Joker. Like you get this kind of like crazy Joker type shit coming out.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
And
Oh, well, and maybe you guys have the fangs because you have to like fe suck the juice out of all the people around you. You know.
that's terrible. Is that how UFIs feel about us?
No, I'm kidding.
Gosh.
I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. No, I've never thought that before.
Gosh.
Yeah. So
Yeah, you never thought about it until now.
yeah.
T.
um yeah. So I don't remember what year I got into it. It had to have been like 4 years ago or something like that, probably. Um, I got sucked into the MBTI, and I was kind of floating around listening to um different like channels and going through. I went through like Socionics a little bit, and then there's like Love Who the channel, and then there was the is it
Oh
like
yeah, there's Love Who.
psych
Yeah, yeah.
psych hack or something like that.
Oh yeah, I
um
did. I did get into socionics. I did. I do know a bit about that. Man, even their description, even the socionics description for ENTP, is like makes sense to me.
yeah.
It's like, how the hell, like, of course they can't see my masculine functions, but they're like super quick in the mind, but like slow in the body. Like they're it's like how they describe them. Like they're just kind
Hmm.
of like slow moving, or like
Interesting.
very like I think that's just the low SI. Like they have SI, they have it just like -7.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so like the quickness is in the mind. It's like there's fireworks going off or like lightning off. all in the mind. Whereas like the SENI quickness would legitimately be in reality.
Yeah, yeah.
But anyways, that was so off topic.
It happens.
Anyways, I finally just started getting like so obsessed with ops to where I was just like thinking of my typing video, what I'd say to them and all that, just like constantly just on that, because I needed the true label, but the thing was I was violently broke. I couldn't afford the class, and it didn't make sense to actually like go for it. It didn't make sense economically
Yep.
until finally I was just like, fuck it, we ball. All right. I'll manage my finances, and I managed them just enough to get me to where I am. So yeah.
Yeah, and then you thought you were was it NIFI or was it NITI?
I thought it was NITI. Yeah.
Okay.
Because of
Yeah.
course, right, is like NI was cool, right? Because you
Yeah.
get you learn the FE, from the tribe of NI is cool, NI is hip. It's like this miracle function.
It's not.
Um, where it's like, yeah, well, that's how it's described, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It's like this supposed miracle function because it's introverted and it's magical, it's intuition, and it's like, and
Yeah, I think the
you
MBTI
find
with
that it's you find that it's culturally you find that it is culturally valuable to have that function. Then you find that it's culturally valuable to be like NITI because of course like TI is also cool.
yep.
And then whenever you learn that you compare TI and NI together, that's like
Double cool.
that's ooh, double cool. You're oh yeah. But what happens is that that was not the case. As literally, whenever I go to type, that was the one coin, one coin that I got off. Everything else was right. And the thing is that I knew deep down that I had SI. I knew it because I could
Yeah.
like feel it like in my chest of like, um, oh yeah, if you're an NI, you should just be able to get rid of all your personal belongings. And then I like, and then there's like this sort of like, weird like
yeah.
emotional attachment to them that I was just like, I had to like think about. Like I was just like, what the hell? Like what is this? Okay, there's like some sort of attachment to them. Like I need these things,
Yep.
you know.
I don't
And
have
I
that
was
at
just
all.
like, and I was just like, ah, shit, you know. I like, but I like sort of tabled that because I'm like, probably because since everybody does everything,
Yeah.
possibly, you know, there,
People can be sentimental.
possibly,
Yeah.
yeah, people can be sentimental. But out of a group of like 100 people, I'd probably be in like the 70th percentile for how sentimental I'd be.
Yeah.
And the NIs would probably be like maybe in the 30th, right? It's like they're not censor and they're not SI and they're like not SI being NI, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I'm probably in like the percentile for sentimentality.
yeah, man, you could like lose everything and just like completely start over physically, but if like
Yeah.
your abstract category of life remained the same, you'd like nothing would change for you.
Yeah.
I
No.
don't think.
I have like no fear of that. In fact, that would almost be a little bit of a relief. It's like, oh, I get to start over. That sounds fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So and that's what I see with Dave as well. It's like, oh my god, this boring ass routine, and I'm like, how are you an IJ controlling, but you're like bored by the routine? What the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah. It's different. It's weird.
and yeah, it's completely different because like NI is just like some sort of like vague. It's just like a vague vision of like I need to be cool in this point in time. Then whenever like talking to you and like seeing NI like more, I was just like, I started to like really see. I was like, damn, because I thought like what I was doing was NI, like oh this like imagination wonderland, that I'm just always in. That's like always just like
Mhm.
fucking me over. I thought like, oh yeah, that's NI. Because again, intuition is just like an introverted function in general because it's within your mind.
Yeah.
It's imagination. It's not censored. It's not in reality. You know. Um, So, but you can like kind of with NE, I mean, you can anchor like a hey, I'm probably everybody like imagines these possibilities or whatnot. But like it's still a form of introverted, as in you're like antisocial with it.
Yeah.
Like fucking NTP, it's just super. NTP can just be like the NT can just be like the NETI can just be like the most antisocial functions, I swear, because you're just like thinking in the meta, you know, of any.
Yeah.
But anyways, I learned what NI is, and I'm just like, that's so silly. Oh my god, what? That's NI? Oh my god, that's so primitive. Like that was like the
Yeah.
first like notion of like, what? Wait, that's it? That's what a plan is to you?
Yeah. It's not all the steps
Fucking if I
between.
plan like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like, what? It's like, oh, okay, so that's what's going on. Okay, yeah, all right.
Yeah. Unsophisticated. Yep.
But yeah, that
I
was
don't think
that was
it's.
the only coin that I had myself wrong. And the thing is, it's like I right if you would have like before I got all tangled up in the label and like all of that, if you talked to me like if you were to ask, hey, what type are you out of all of these? I probably would have like consciously answered or like, oh yeah, that's me. Oh shit. Yeah, okay, you got me. Like me back in high school, or like me in like elementary school. It's like, yeah, you got me. Like, okay, yep, because I'm not. There's less like social pressure. There's less
Yeah.
like
It doesn't have the social value
there's less
tied into it.
cultural. There's like less cultural pressure. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not like seeing the emotional spectrum.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. It's just in the
You know,
moment. No, I.
it's
I
just
am.
like,
I had typed myself
yeah, I know this
the.
label to be true.
I I don't know what you typed yourself as. I had typed myself as NITI as
Oh,
well. Yeah.
NITI, sleep, consume, play, blast, double masculine. I typed myself as basically M&M, but a social four.
Yeah,
Um,
same.
but I
Social
was
wasn't around when I did the typing, and then I wasn't sure about the modalities at all.
the second I saw social four, I'm like, yeah, that's
Yeah.
me. um, but I got yeah, no, I got double masculine M&M. I was like basically M&M, but then I'm like, fuck. Then I meet somebody who, is my girlfriend's brother, who like actually reminds me of Eminem, and I'm like, okay, I'm not him. Motherfucker is like social type 3, Eminem. He just wants to do IT for like his entire life, and that's it. And that's
Jeez.
it. Nothing changed. And I'm like, no diversity. No. I just want to do IT. Just gonna do IT. Like that's it.
Yeah.
Just something related to IT. It's like, holy shit, motherfucker, you're born as all hell. What the hell? He just does IT and works out. It's like okay, I'm not you.
Yeah. You have variety up the wazoo for sure. Um, yeah, I had originally with the MBTI test, I had actually way back in the day, I had gotten into it from I was like actually the camp I had mentioned. I was driving home with somebody. My parents didn't come to pick me up. I was probably like 16 or 17, probably 17, and um, this person recommended like, oh yeah, you should really get into like um 16 personalities or MBTI or something like that. And I'm like, what the heck is that? And then when I pulled up the test, it was sometime later, and I was just curious, and I remembered it, and I was like, oh yeah, let me. So I pulled it up on my phone. I was like, oh yeah, I've gone through this before, and I didn't think anything of it when I went through it before. I was like, this looks like BS, and I just never thought of it again. So then when I went through it again, I was like, I wonder if there's actually something behind this. So I was sitting there, and then I like kind
Yeah,
of got into it. And it was like 6 months later, I had really gone through a period of there was quite a lot of
gosh.
converging things that I was getting into around the time.
Man,
Um,
I had to take off my glasses. Right? There's
oh
like a
no,
little thing here that like kind of, it's like they're bent in a way that like kind of hurts. So
yeah,
here you
yeah,
go. You get barefaced. You get barefaced, Nico.
it's okay. You look good. Um, so around that time, I was getting like really into criticism of a couple different types. I was getting into like scientific stuff a little bit more, like how to be scientific, and this was totally separate from ops. This had nothing to do with ops. I didn't know who they were at the time, and I was getting into like art criticism, and so I'd created a pretty robust understanding of how to properly define and like critique and understand if something's true or not. So then I was finally like going around to different systems, and I was like, you know, I figured out the Barnum effect, but I didn't know what the Barnum effect was. But I was like, this is all a bunch of BS.
Yeah, people have biases. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, this is a bunch of BS. I was like, I don't believe any of this. So I went back through all the systems one more time. Like I was looking through them all, and then I found ops is the one, and I was like, they're claiming to be objective, and they're telling me like everything that I think is wrong with all the other ones. Like they're literally telling me what I figured out on my own. So I was like, all right, let me stick around and see what's up with this one. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm like having just phantom tingles on my legs because my body's like freaking out of like fleas. There could be fleas.
Yeah, yeah, that's all good.
Oh my god, it's more. I don't even know if they're fleas or not. It's just like phantom tingles. Anyways,
Mhm.
sorry. I am listening.
No, I believe you. You're fine.
I am.
I
I'm
mean, even if
listening.
you're not, it doesn't matter. You don't lose anything.
Bruh. Okay.
Um,
Anyways, continue. Yeah, they're like objective. Yeah, and that's also what drew me to it. It's like, yeah, they're raw. They're telling you that like, hey, a lot of this shit is bullshit.
yeah,
It's like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Okay, yeah.
yeah. And for me, it was like, oh, they're
As a
telling me
man of
exactly.
science.
They're telling me exactly what I concluded. So yeah, I'll take that.
Oh my god, my friend is like that too. I swear, I'll say something that's completely different, and he'll just manage to be like, "Yeah, we said the same thing," and I'm like, "What? How'd you get that? How'd you? Oh my god, how did you get that?"
Well, just because you
You,
don't see it doesn't
it's
mean
like,
it's not there.
no, no, it's like, I'm like, oh, I see what he's doing. He's just putting it into a nothing category that's just like so big that it's useless.
That's yeah.
Like, oh,
You got to generalize to the biggest category. Yep, that's how it works.
so I was able, whenever I thought I was an I did that. I'm like, yeah, I'm into like these three things, that all of my interests boil down to. It's like, but any can do that. That's what any can do. And I
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, sure, yeah, these three categories. But what happened is that I noticed after that there wasn't any form of like relief. It was just like, okay, um, this isn't a conclusion. This is just like, okay, this is like something interesting, I guess. Like I tried to call it a conclusion, but it like wasn't
Yeah, yeah.
like instinctively. Anyways, continue. Sorry. I was
No,
going on
I
a
don't.
wee
You're fine.
story.
I don't quite remember what I was talking about, but I can rant on about other things.
Yes, they were objective. They were, you know, concluded. They concluded on the same thing that you concluded on. That's where you.
Yeah. Yeah, and then when I got into their content on the YouTube, and I think I watched through all of that, and then I had found out they were typing a bunch of, which I didn't quite understand how the typing worked at that point in time, but they were typing a bunch of people that I was already interested in, like because I had already kind of fallen into the self help category of videos. I didn't know what to do with that either, and I think I'm just now finally, like literally 4 years later, kind of concluding on self help, but so there's like
Yes.
a lot of merging interest there.
I don't know. Personally, I believe that self-help is something you're gonna have to figure out yourself. You can go and get some information from other people and like see. Like, okay, you know, like what actually, made you feel more positive about yourself, or like what actually got you into a better life. But you need to kind of like, at least for me, need to figure out how to do that in my own way. Um,
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's
it's
I
like,
would have nothing to tell
I
people to help them through that. Yeah.
yeah, it's like it's like everybody to some extent is unique. Not everybody has the same experience, so it's like you can't just generalize self-help into oblivion. Like, oh yeah, you know, I don't know, fucking whatever, right? Like, don't like don't jack off 3 times a day, right? Or like just some genuine like bogus ass shit where it's like, okay, duh. It's like, okay, yeah, duh. Like I could have figured this out myself and could have done a lot more of it, like a
Well,
lot more with it.
hey, I think there was that one guy that jacked off like 20 or 30 times and then got a heart attack
Oh
and
yeah, and he
died.
died.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was, I think he was like Korean or something. I don't know.
I've also heard a
I
report
feel
of a
bad.
guy.
I have empathy for the Koreans because like their shit is just like falling apart. Like
Oh
everything's just
yeah.
like crashing in their society. Like they're kind of like corporatized and just miserable.
Yeah,
It's like
they'll have
it's
to
like
get out of
almost
it.
cyberpunk over there.
Yeah, they'll have to get out of it and adapt their culture, I suppose. But yeah, they're kind of screwed right now
Yeah,
because
yeah.
their birth rate is like
Man,
not sustainable right now, I think.
I swear, everybody's like, I swear, so many more people are like talking about culture, despite me knowing that like they're not like their type shouldn't see culture. Like for instance, you, right? Your type shouldn't be seeing culture, but like you're talking about it. It's like you have a good grasp of like what it is, and it's like, huh. I wonder if it is a combination. Like I wonder, everybody can do everything, and I guess the good amount of experience can actually get you to like see like culture and how everybody like a zeitgeist and like how everybody sort of follows this like
Yeah, yeah.
vibe or like NF, you know, this like
Yeah, I think I mostly consume NTP content. So like that
well
where does
yeah
that
yeah
get you?
because you're with
Yeah.
actually that makes sense because you're so close with the dragon's neck.
Yeah. Yeah.
um
Well, no, I get him into the I think I get him into the NTP content more than he gets me into it, but like
huh
Jordan
no,
Peterson
that's
Young crap, I sent it to him and he yeah. I don't know if he necessarily
you're
watches that
like
as
a
much.
wow yeah this
I
very
got him into
very interesting.
typology too as well. I'm gonna take pride on that one. Ego flex. I got him into it.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That's so good.
Yeah.
Nice.
I know it's so hard. I just like sent him 2 videos and he consumed it crazy. Dude, you're supposed to stroke my
Yeah.
ego. You're supposed to give me words of affirmation right now and tell me how awesome I am. We're not friends anymore.
Oh my god. Yeah,
All right, I'm
totally.
getting out of here. I'm getting out of here. How do I get my turn my screen off?
Oh no, you're having an observer freak out.
I can't break up the friendship. I can't find the disconnect button for the friendship. I'm lost.
Womp womp.
Um, yeah,
Anyways,
where were we at? I don't remember. I don't know if it matters, but um,
here's the thing. Here's the thing.
culture. Yeah, no, talk more about
Actually, yeah, I'll
culture.
get you. I'll get you with. Actually, I'll hit you. I'll hit you with the words of affirmation. I'll hit you with that.
Okay,
Um,
get it.
or with what my belief is on words of affirmation. So the way I see words of affirmation and respect is that they are earned by things that like genuinely like make me go whoa. It's like oh shit. You know, um, like something genuinely respectable. Like oh yeah, I'm gonna take pride in like sending this guy some videos to get him into typology. It's like dude, you sent him like 2 videos, bro. Like stop. Like
No,
I'm
it's a
not giving you any like you
retrospective.
don't get
It's
no I know but
retrospective.
it's like you're not getting but it's like you're not getting anything from me for that. Like okay, cool. Like I like yeah, that is something that I do believe about respect. It's like respect is earned. You
Oh
know,
yeah, no, 100%.
it's 100% earned. It's like don't come to me with just like some whack ass like low bullshit, like a little
Yeah,
kid being
I
like,
can't.
"Yay!" I.
Yeah, I can't
It's
stand that
like
either. When people are like trying, they're like, "Give me my stroke my ego," and I'm just like, "Impress me." I'm not going to unless
yeah,
you
like
impress me.
actually, yeah,
Yeah,
just like actually impress me, and I will.
yeah,
You know, I believe that there's a sort of natural, respect that you can like give everybody. Like
yeah,
there's a baseline, but it's like don't fucking do this like weak ass ego shit. It's like
yeah,
motherfucker, I'm gonna like actually roast you now.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, well, I hope you know that was ironic. I was not, or
I
joking.
know, I
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
I do it. I do that too. Like, oh my god, look at me. Like, I figured out that out for myself. Like, I swear, I totally know what I was doing. Like, absolutely.
What is
Like
that
that
voice?
type of.
What's that voice? That's from something. I feel like.
I got that. I got that. I got that voice or got that vibe from one of my friends. One of my fraternity friends. His name is Spencer. He's a really really cool guy. Really really respectable dude. Actually, like in all
Respect.
genuineness, I think he's a very. I think he's just he's got like that NTP. He's got really that NTP brain that just like goes. You
Mm.
know. But very very but he'll like do like those subtle like stroke my ego but don't actually stroke my ego but like low key stroke my ego type gymnastics with the yeah, I totally knew that like yeah yeah and to me that's like just it's like pretty funny, I know it's like humor, and so I like picked that up and I'm like okay, I can like do that imitation. Like that is what I'll do. It's like I'll steal people's vibes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Makes
Very
sense.
NF play,
Yeah.
but like that is what I'll do. It's like I will become the necessary. I'll become whatever vibe is necessary
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That
or
makes
like
sense.
whatever
Yeah.
is necessary
Yeah, I'm just stealing other people's
there.
thinking.
Like
So yeah, I totally get that.
okay, now that's unacceptable.
Yeah. Nah, it's easy. You don't have to
Nah,
do the work
nah,
yourself.
I'd win. That's terrible, but like, nah, I get you because it's like, oh yeah, you don't have to do the vibe yourself, and you're
Yep.
like, you serious, bro?
What do you mean by that?
But
Do I need to excommunicate you from the tribe?
oh no, that's the worst thing for an observer.
Do I need to
That
send the
hasn't happened.
IRS after
Like
you?
like that hasn't happened. Okay, the IRS hasn't happened before, and I hope it never happens.
They're
But
good to work with. You don't have to
but
worry about it.
the excommunication from the tribe, yeah, that's happened. That's happened to me before.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, hey, I
but
think
just like IRS, just like anything that triggers you. What I personally what I do is I just say I won't let this bother me.
yeah.
Like nah, I'd win.
Yeah, yeah, that's the
Like
way to do it.
you know
Yeah.
that reference like nah, I'd win type shit. Of just like or I'll let this bother me for like 5 months, and then I'm gonna get out. Okay, I'll like wallow for like this time, and then I'll get out. It's like okay, it's like let me like go into the trauma, go into the pain for like this amount of time, then I'll get out because I think like that's the best way to do it. Or like if
Five
it's
months
just
is a long
something
time.
minor,
I feel like.
eh, that's like an example. Like with what happened is that the like for instance, I think actually no, it hasn't been 5 months. It's been like three maybe. Well, it happened in September, so like maybe four. I don't know actually. I don't know the SI on that. We can check.
Gotta get that timeline.
Let's see.
Gotta catch it. Gotta catch them all.
Friday. The bullshit happened on Friday the 6th.
Why do you know that? That's so crazy.
I marked that. I marked that day. I fucking marked that day. Um, let's see. September. Yes, I had all of September, all of October, all of November, all of December. Well, no, not all of December. Like more like half of December. So like 3.5 months. But the thing is like I was more observer stuck because that caused a cascade of bullshit that happened where I just get completely shut down. Like I just had so much shit that was just like piled that just like killed me.
Yeah.
And I just completely shut down, like failed all my classes, just died. And I kind of let myself do that. I kind of just let myself be in that to make sure that I get out. It's like I look to because I look to ops and I'm like, okay, if this is like the true system, you know, um, then I truly believe that if I were to go through a lot of pain and hell and like really just ramped up the pain, ramped up the hell, it's like I truly believe that afterwards there'll be that kick back up, and I can see that happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it is kind of just like I'm a consciously, it's like very, very self-conscious type shit.
So, two questions kind of wrapped in one here. I think they both go hand in hand, but if so, I think the first question would be, what is your, I guess it's two. What is your worldview and how has it changed over time? And then, if God relates to that, is God real?
Oh yeah.
Answer all that real quick. 5 minutes.
All right, real quick.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. You can take as much time as you want.
All right, so okay, my worldview is more or less. I think I mentioned this before. Like everything's just like some sort of phenomenon. Like it's like kind of a always be some form of curious mindset. Like reality is like your oyster. It's so interesting to like figure it out. Like I guess that's like the bare bones. Like hey, that's how I should be playing the game. And that's very akin to my saviors, obviously. But one of the things that like I also um, I also believe is like that what do you might call it? Hmm, what was it? I lost the thinking. Oh no.
The words died. The
Um,
thinking died. Oh no. Resurrect them quick.
it didn't die. It didn't die. I just like OE channel changed to like another one of my beliefs and like forgot the original one that I was going to talk about before I like actually said it. The belief that I channel changed to is that like countries and cultures are like organisms where there's a sort of naturalistic competition to them, and that everything that is done makes sense within the system or context that you view it in.
Elaborate
Like
on that.
for
I don't
instance,
quite get that.
it's a sort of Darwinistic worldview, despite me having like Christian roots, and I do believe in like you know God and all of that. But my belief structure is pretty interesting. Like you have God, and then you have like the spiritual realm, and you have like a bunch of all these things, uh, where there's a lot more intricacy and nuance within our existence that is just like it's just completely like unbeknownst to so many people, you
Yeah.
know.
So like
And
consciousness, for example, is that kind of what you're talking about?
yes, like consciousness, like the spirit world, like afterlife, all of this things, all of these things that are like just way more complex for the average human to grasp. You know, I think those things are out there. Um,
How do you figure that?
I think that there are like certain levels to reality that you can go up. Things that can get you closer to like a primordial source. You
Oh,
know,
do you base that upon like the idea of like dimensionality?
it's like dimensions, the idea of like seven realms, seven heavens. That type of idealism. Um,
So where do you get that from? Like, why do you
that's
assume
something.
that's
That's
true?
something. Whenever I look to what do you might call it, like ancient cultures and all of that, I can kind of see that that's like a common trend. It's like okay, so a lot of people are seeing this. A lot of people are having these near death experiences where they experience just a fuck ton of shit. Um, just a fuck ton of unexplainable shit that can only be explained within the framework of like, hey, there's kind of something else out there, that like we don't
Yeah.
know about necessarily. Um, so just a bunch of stuff like that. Um, let's see. Oh yeah, again, my worldview is kind of like Darwinistic, as in things things kind of have to make sense in some sort of way, or like if things don't make sense, you're viewing them with the wrong framework. Um, where humans are like organisms, and certain cultures are like organisms, countries are like organisms. Like for instance, like what's happening with Israel and Gaza, right? You know how there's a genocide going on. I kind of like dived into like the ideology of like both tribes, and I'm like, oh yeah, okay, what Israel, like what's happening with Israel, though it's terrible. Like the genocide's fucking, terrible. A lot of people are dying. People are being slaughtered. It's like that makes sense as Israel's next logical step, because the Darwinistic ideology for them is like, okay, they need to secure the Middle East. They need to expand. They're under the you know culture of they're like under the culture of they're God's children, right? So like, what would you logic like again? What would
That's
logically
kind
be
of
done?
that's kind of
It's like
true
that.
and not. It depends on
It's
which
like
sex you get. Not all of them necessarily believe
okay,
that.
I'm not, but that's like kind of like what's looking like that's what I see with like Israel and all that. Like Israel's kind of like trying to expand, you know. Um, they're trying to reclaim what the territory that is believed to be theirs.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so and again, everything kind of like these actions make sense, within the framework. Um, and it's like that with like many things, because life tries to essentially adapt, evolve, progress to like a more efficient system. They're trying to be. It's like a striving to perfection,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
where everything is like slowly trying to get closer to God, but it's like an exponential decay curve where you can go 99%, 99.9%. You can kind of start, but you'll never reach it. There's a limit. There's a limit cap.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I see the
And
same
of
thing, yeah.
course, I'm like sounding like I'm like relative. I know this. I'm like relatively incoherently talking because this is something that I'm going to need to like write like a treatise about, and like actually like really sit. Like here's the thing. I've sat down on it, but like I had to like actually set it into stone via like keyboard warrioring it out onto a Google Doc.
Yeah. So,
But
would this be
essentially,
like would this be a good I think I know where you're going. So it's like the world is in forms of ideology, religion, and like memes across time. Not the internet memes, but the other ones. Along with biology, is progressing forward. It's constantly changing as you see it across time and evolving, and it's going up towards that, as you said, like that better, and towards that constant improvement. The decay curve, kind of. Do you see is that kind of where you're going with all this, or is there more nuance in that?
We'll just go with that for now. Um, kind of got kind of got distracted because my mom needs to go to bed and she was like telling me all that.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I think we can go with that. Um, it's just you know these are my principles that I need to like do some more setting into stone with.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I believe that there are again levels of consciousness, levels of spirituality, like closer levels that you can get to God.
Okay, do you
Um,
take that as like is that a Buddhist kind of idea of consciousness where you're getting closer towards like nirvana?
I can say that I'm more yeah I can say that like it's like a mix between like Christianity, Buddhism, and like Darwinism, or
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
Christianity, Buddhism, Hinduism, and Darwinism is what I can
Yeah.
kind of say. Like a mixture of where I'm like coming from here.
That's where I see the
Um,
trend of most people going right now. Yeah.
yeah, like what like I'm kind of seeing that there's like with all of this like blank corporate societal bullshit that's like a lot of like degenerative behavioral sinks going on. I see that there's probably going to just be a religious revolution that happens,
Oh, it's happening right
given
now.
like
It's happening right now.
it's yeah, it's like starting up. Here's the thing. It's started now, but it's like still slowly ramping up.
Yeah, it's probably going to
Okay.
create a really at the end of the cycle. It's going to start another toxic, like dogmatized religion, and then we're going to have to reset.
Mm, possibly. I see more of a
Well, that's a bit of
I
an
see kind of
oversimplification.
more I see
But
kind of more of like a religious golden age coming after this because we were just in
oh
like
yeah, yeah,
such a nihilistic world.
yeah. I'm jumping past that. Yeah, no, I agree. I'm jumping past that.
Ah, okay. So
Well, yeah, you see it across time. So you see it with the
yeah,
the. Do you have to go? Do we need to cut this off?
a little, yeah. It sucks that I kind of gotta like do a bit of a cutoff,
Yeah,
but
no, it's all good.
um,
I got the
what do I
blast for
call
you.
it?
I can cut it
Just
off here.
just real quick, there's something other interest. There's a okay. It's not really like one abstract worldview, as you can see. It's a sort of mixture of like abstract beliefs that I have,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
I like personally have. Like one belief slash theory that I have is like again, ghosts and all of that come from your intuition. Like spiritual things come from there. Your intuition, say technically a force that comes from a higher, dimensional or spiritual level, right? I believe that intuition being possibilities over time is some sort of like fifth dimensional aspect or, something like that. It's like
yeah. I used to think some similar things. I've since kind of. I'm like, I don't know. I just can't quite jump that far personally. But yeah, I used to think similar things.
it's like ghosts and spirits and like all that can kind of like come from the mind, like the mind being a more like a gateway to deeper spiritual shit.
Yeah, yeah.
um if I was
Okay.
to like draw a
Oops.
diagram of it, it'd be like the wormhole singularity, like the
Yeah.
one world's on the other side, the singularity being like the mind slash consciousness, and then outward is like the reality that we're in.